My name is Alice French. I'm the Director of Education and Programming at Menokin, and I'll be leading this conversation this evening. In March, we met with Will Holman of Open Works for this series, a nonprofit maker space in Baltimore, providing access to tools, equipment, and studio space for makers and artists of all kinds. And this evening, we will speak with folks from a fine arts space, the Arts Center of Montross. Now, I'd like to introduce our panelists and let them do the talking as we start the conversation. We will try to respect your time and stay to 1 hour and follow with questions. Our main speaker this evening is Janice Jones, who is the Executive Director of the Arts Center of Montross. Janice is a self-taught artist and is now the director of the Arts Center of Montross. Like many creative people, and education never stopped her from her drive to make art in many forms. Janice's creative drive was constantly moving her through. Although discouraged as a young woman with the age-old mantra of you can't make a living as an artist, she pursued a structured government career while continuing to apply art as her outlet through her design skills in sewing, painting on porcelain and silver and glass fusing, and eventually painting. Once retired, Janice began bringing teachers to her area, attracting many nationally and internationally renowned teachers, and was able to sponsor workshops for about 10 years. This in turn led to organizing art festivals and finally to the position she is in today, managing the Arts Center of Montross. Janice is working harder than ever to create a community-supported art space and says, "What I will tell you is that I am having fun no matter how tired I am when I go home at night. I also have the support of so many artists, friends, and even people I just met, and I'm so grateful." So we are so grateful to have you in our community, Janice. And I'd also like to note that Janice is joined this evening with guest Ronda Rotz, who is an artist with a studio space at the Montross Arts Center, and also Gail Lauer, who also teaches art there. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And bring everybody to the front so we can start a little conversation here. For starters, I'd like to address Janice with briefly asking you, how did all of you all meet and discover your common passions? I mean, how did you get started? Each of you, I think I'd like to go around to sort of round table with each of you, how you sort of got started in your art career. But I'm going to start with you, Janice. Oh, I'm sorry, you're muted, Janice. Let me see if I can.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for having me on. And my career sounds so much better when you tell it than when I tell it. I'll be honest. I think you really hit the high spots. The exciting thing was that I've just continued to grow as an artist. I've done so many things in so many different mediums that when people come into the center now, I can talk to them about almost anything. Now, like everything, if free advice is free advice. But I think that I really am providing a service. And I want to thank Rhonda and Nana for being on with me. Rhonda has been in my life for 10 or 15 years now. We've taken a lot of classes together. She gets to paint more than I do. So I love her artwork, which you might see behind me. Nana is new in my life, but she came and wanted to teach for us. And we're so excited. Everybody just loves it. We've got a watercolor workshop coming up in 2 weeks, I think, maybe 3. So that's how I met all of them. And they're also helping me in my career because especially Nana, I think she's trying to push me to paint. She said, you can paint this, you can paint this. So I appreciate that. They help me.
That's great. And how about Gail? How did you get doing the stuff that you do now?
Alice, it's Nana.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was from your email.
My middle name is Gail. Some people call me Nana Gail,
okay.
but a lot of people call me Nana. So started very young, of course, loving art. And then I graduated with art honors from high school and went on to become a silver engraver, and then taught pottery throwing on the wheel for Baltimore City Bureau of Recreation, and then took several art courses here and there, and finally went to the Schuler School of Fine Arts, which if you love old architecture, you would love that building.
I went to Micah. I know that whole.
You know the Schuler School then.
Yeah.
And I know I love listening to talk about the old buildings they're working on. Of course, Baltimore has many old buildings, and so I just right now, after graduating, I'm trying to work on my anatomy, which is like the pinnacle, the hardest thing. So I'm hoping that next year to do an crochet, because I've done one a long time ago, but I would like to do that and work more on for myself anatomy. And I do love to teach because I just it's a passion. I also work for my husband doing furniture restoration, do chair caning, chair rushing, and all that lovely yucky stuff.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful. And Rhonda, can you tell us a little bit about your history with art?
Sure. My art started a long time ago, probably when I was about 4 years old. My mother was doing paint by numbers with oil. She wanted to be creative, but at that time, that was her outlet. And she was painting something, and I just felt the need to want to touch it, even though she didn't want me to. So that's when it all started, kind of got my hands into it, much to my mother's chagrin. And then when I was about 7 years old, she was a 4-H leader, and I begged to learn how to sew. So I've sewn my entire life, and translated to wanting to do art when I got to junior high school and high school. And I left it behind for a few years while I was raising my family, but then got re-involved with the Decorative Art Society, and was folk art painting, toll painting, self-taught. Everything I've done is self-taught. I was a teacher in those genres, in this decorative arts and toll painting and fabric painting for several years while I was raising my children, and have just strived my whole path to take classes, do workshops, which is how I met Janice, and it's led to my artwork being in the Montross, the Art Center of Montross now. And I've started to teach there in addition to painting, and I'm really enjoying it, really looking forward to what's to come in the future. Janice is a great advocate for all artists, especially those at the Art Center. Any one of us has been really blessed with her advocacy and her support in the arts. And the Virginia area has a great gift in the Art Center of Montross.
No, that's really great. I totally agree. So Janice, I know that this is fairly new. Your mission for doing something in the arts has been for your whole life, which I think is with most people. There's something driving it the whole time along. But how long has you've been at the business at the Arts Center?
We only opened June 1st of this year, which we've got a birthday coming up, and I'm very excited about that. And of course, we're going to celebrate. Really and truly, when we finally found a place, it only took us a couple of months to really get going, because I knew so many artists, and because the artists I knew from friends like Ronda to people who had been in my art festivals, and then different art guilds that I've belonged to, because I belonged to 3 or 4 art guilds, all in separate areas. So I was really able to pull in a lot of favors, and I have to admit that. And I'm totally appreciative. And we've had a lot of new people come through the door too, because of hearing about us. And that's exciting. We just picked up a new artist who, I don't know how old he is, maybe 40s. He's painted all of his life, but he's never shown his work. And he chose us to show his work. So I'm just beyond thrilled.
That's wonderful. Yeah,
I really am. His work is amazing.
I'm curious from all of you. I mean, we started this series because it seems that there are maker spaces popping up all over the place. So you are mostly a fine arts center, but they're in all different realms, with whether it's woodworking, or I've seen recycling places, or just all kinds of formats. And I'm just sort of curious from you all what you think has been the sort of the thing that has motivated this need to create these community environments.
Does somebody else want to take this? If not, that's a very good question, Alice. I'm not sure that I have a very good answer for it. I think, speaking for myself, as I've progressed through life, I've learned the value of reparation, rebuilding, the value of creativity, the value of adding to the environment, trying to protect the environment, trying to protect the world. And arts, to me, provide so much to the world because you're giving of yourself and you're sharing of yourself. So I don't know whether that makes sense. Maybe somebody can say it better. Nana, I see you smiling there.
Well, I think a community, creative people always want to be in a community.
Yes.
Whether it's a space, or at the park doing plein air, or at the museum drawing, or just where a library, wherever they can get together. I know many teachers who teach they'll have a class in the basement of a church. And you look at a lot of the art leagues that started because people got together and wanted to create. I think all humans want to create, whether it be cooking or even math can be creative, I imagine, although I can't do it. So we all want to be, and that's a community. We all want to be in a community of doing that creativity. And it used to be very easy. I mean, because I'm older, I remember how we had rec centers and we were taught art in school. And now with artificial intelligence, I mean, the hands-on creating is kind of becoming a lost art. But so I think we need to get together. We need to support each other because it is becoming a lost art. We need to leave these legacies, so to speak.
Well, I see that definitely in the building arts, working for a place where we're preserving something that's 250 years old, and there aren't up and rising young adults who are learning these trades to preserve these same things. And it's really kind of critical to re-engage people in that process, because the buildings aren't getting any newer. and I think you find that though in multiple levels. So, and for me, also talking about architecture, I remember way back in many years ago in high school, everybody took a drafting class. You learned a little bit about it, even if it was only just for half a year or whatever. You learned this sort of basic skill for communicating with drawing. And then I was a draftsman, and I worked in the architectural field for a number of years, and that was in the days when it was just beginning to transform into the computer world, but you still had to do everything by hand. And there was the old adage that was, don't draw more than you can erase in the afternoon, because that was, that's how you change things. You had to physically change it. You couldn't just go and wipe it out on the computer with a blip. But there was also a real skill for understanding how to describe things visually, just by being able to draw, which I think is sometimes lacking today, where people don't know how to just pull out a napkin and draw a picture on it, and communicate an idea, which I think is really valid and really important in the art world and just in the design world, for, like I said, for communicating an idea. But anyway,
drawing is the foundation. I believe that. And call me an art snob, but if you got to draw.
Well, and I believe as creators, and we're all driven to create. I've never really met someone that isn't creative in one form or another. We all find our own ways and forms that inspire us to be creative. But I think creative people, once they're inspired by their surroundings, be it a landscape or a building or whatever, starts your creative juices flowing, you start to care about what you're seeing and want to be involved in making it better. And I think that's how a lot of creative people propel themselves forward in getting people involved in the community and involving themselves in a community. And so it all comes from a place of love and caring and inspiration.
Yeah, that's very nice.
I agree.
Mhm.
And I think, where I live, this county is poor, but we just had art from all the 5 schools in the county. And the kids were so excited, and they've got amazing art teachers, and they were so happy to share their work. It was absolutely an amazing experience. I wish more people had come to see their show.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
I think that's even not just that type of a show, also engages the community, and it also teaches it teaches a younger generation that there's value in that work. And
Jeff
Yes.
asked a question about stick figures. And he said, all I can draw is a stick figure. Well, you could do a lot. That's pretty good, Jeff, because that is how every fine artist starts a figure. There's a book by Victor Perard, and his figures all start with sticks. Well, it would be nice to put a ball on top of the stick to represent the head. So I would tell Jeff, put a ball on top of that stick, and then you have arms and legs. But that's the way everybody starts. It always starts like that, Jeff.
yes.
That's
well,
how the
thank-
children draw their families in preschool.
Well, and it's about doing it all the time.
Mhm.
The more you do it, the more you learn in any field. And so that's how you learn.
Mhm.
So getting back to the Art Center of Montross and being a news business, I have a lot of questions about how you got started and how you generated funding to get this whole place going, because it's a beautiful place, and I encourage people to come out and visit and take a class. But you want to tell me a little bit about the background about that, Janice?
A wing and a prayer. I have been extremely lucky, and I cannot put it any other way, because these opportunities have just fallen in my hands. I guess you could say I was the right place at the right time. Initially, Warsaw asked me to start a business there. I don't even know how they found out about me, but they did. And they did everything they could to help find me a rental space. They were absolutely wonderful, and they still support us today on Facebook. But a rental space just that was adequate did not appear. Then Warsaw got on the bandwagon, and this building came up for sale. And
You mean
Del
Montross?
Ford in Montross, yes, thank you, who was one of the artists, said, "This is a wonderful opportunity. Let's go for it." So he bought the building, and I started the business. I mean, it was actually that quick. I
Wow.
think in 2 months, we had it painted inside. We had spruced it up. It had been vacant for a long time. We had art on the walls. I said, we're going to open on June 1st, and we did. It was
Wow.
a lot. It was a lot of elbow grease. My friends came in and helped me. They scrubbed and cleaned and pushed and shoved, found display units for us. It was a collection of people that put it all together.
So how many people actually work or employed at the Art Center?
Me
Right.
and the volunteers. There are 3 tiers of membership here. We have the studio artist, which Ronda is one of them, and they sit 1 day a month. That's part of their contract, and that helps me immensely. There's another tier, which is a little lower. They have to sit once a month. Again, a lot of help to me. Then I have consignment artists that just put their work here and straight consignment, different financial arrangement. But I've got great artists here who really pitch in. When we just repainted, a couple of them came in and we just knocked out the rooms. It's just really a collective venture. And I'm very, very grateful for the support.
That's really wonderful. That's really great to hear. That's best way to have it happen, because then everybody has a piece in it, you know.
I agree. It's, as I said, I'm totally gratified and I feel extremely lucky and grateful. But it's a mission now. It really is. It's, I am totally dedicated to making this place a success and bringing art and art opportunities to the Northern Neck, to the upper Northern Neck. There's a lot lower down, but there's nothing here. So we have not only our art, we have classes, events. We're going to end up doing trips. There are lots of things in the planning phase.
So since you mentioned the classes and we have a couple instructors with us, you want to talk a little bit about the classes that you each offer, and then also what other things, types of classes people can take?
Okay. They're going to talk first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Let's hear from Gail for starters.
Did you want to hear it from me?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you teach a class at the?
Oh,
center?
yes, I'm sorry. I didn't understand.
Okay. I just wanted you to talk a little bit about what you teach
Yeah.
and
Well,
what
we
that
did
experience is for you.
We did a classical drawing with charcoal, which was, really, really fun. It was great. Like I said, drawing is the foundation, but then we're going to do watercolor, and that's basically watercolor's drawing, but we're going to learn how to use the medium a little bit because it's a tricky medium. I think, it's beautiful, but it's very tricky. So we'll get into basically just doing more or less playing with the, watercolor and seeing what happens with that. And I believe that I think Janice is planning some kind of a plein air event at the Washington's birthplace, which is really fun. And that's what I do here when we're in Baltimore. I try to get some people in the neighborhood and around to do some plein air painting, because in Baltimore, I don't want to paint by myself. You got to have somebody with you. But I do love plein air painting.
That's great.
And it'd be neat to, even, get into some portrait and maybe something like that, or figure drawing. Of course, I love figure drawing, but so that would be kind of neat too. But you'd have to have a model sit for you. Doesn't have to be naked. It can be a clothed model. Don't get scared, Janice.
Oh, you got to remember what our audience here.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, just a clothed model for a little while, and
we'll have to get you all out to plein air at Menokin.
Yeah,
we have 500 acres there and a beautiful waterscape too.
Oh, that would be
idea.
fun.
And today, as a matter of fact, today I was out kayaking with Richmond County 7th graders, and up along the edge of Menokin Bay, the water, it's a great place to see beautiful flowers and birds and things like that. So along the edge of Menokin Bay is this whole wall of irises, but these are natural irises. These are they're not really big, like you see them today and they're like giant. They're like as big as my head, but these are beautiful. They're purple and they're just perfect. And it's just 3, little leaves. And anyways, there's lots of moments like that, but you can also see some of those things from the shore too. You don't have to always be in a kayak. So
where is it located? Can you tell me exactly where it's located?
We're on Menokin Road, just south of Montross, but probably about 7 miles from the center, something like that. Not very far.
You're 7 miles from Montross?
I don't have it.
It's not much more than that,
but it's not very far. It's not very far.
But you're very close. We should go there, Janice.
We will.
Okay.
And how about you, Rhonda? What is your experience with teaching and at the Art Center as well?
Teaching, it's been fun. Janice wanted to offer some free classes to the community to get them involved and get them interested. So I think it was February, we did a free class on an introductory to acrylics, and we had several students in that class. And then I moved into, Janice had some requests for jelly plate printing. And since one of my mediums is collage, I like to hand paint my own papers and put it into my art. And I use the jelly plate to create monoprints. So we offered a class on that beginning of April, and we had a lot of fun. It was an all-day class, and we're hoping to do more of that kind of collage. There's so many different ways to create collage to put into your work. So we're planning on creating more collage classes, and basically whatever interest comes up, Janice kind of channels it to whoever she thinks is the most gifted in that area, and everybody's willing to pitch in and do what needs to be done and teach classes, and so we're all kind of pitching in and moving forward and trying to create a really great community at the Art Center.
Yeah, but I think you guys are working towards doing a great job of it.
Thank you.
Amen.
Have you felt that the Art Center, Gail and Rhonda, has supported your practice, your personal practice?
I believe so. When Janice invited me, I was very, very excited. Being a close friend, she's always been an advocate, but the tireless hours that she puts into it, not just for me, but for everyone else, she's truly concerned to introduce art to the community in general, and then to all of her artists. I hope everybody appreciates how tirelessly she's working to expose everyone, to get people acquainted with them and vice versa. And yeah, I feel like I've been very well served at the Art Center of Montross. It's been a great place. And not only is she an advocate for me, I'm trying to be an advocate for the Art Center, but it also feeds, I go there and I get inspired, and the creativity that's in the building is just hands down, just wonderful.
Great. Gail, do you have anything you want to add?
Oh, I just love Janice, and she's been such a help. I praise her more. I wish I were closer a lot of times to help out more, because she just works so hard, and she's just a wonderful.
Well, in support of the center, Janice, what would someone need to do to get a studio or teach a class?
On our website, there's a tab that says join us, and there's an application that you complete. Most time though, well, people don't find us there. They come through the door and say, how can I join you? What can I do? So then I send them to the website, or they'll call and I say, please bring in some of your artwork so I can see it. The latest artist, that was so funny. I told him it was absolutely meant to be. I don't even know why he popped up on my Facebook page. He told his story that he really wanted to share his art with the world. I said, here I am, bring it in and let me see it. So that's it. This is to get people to get involved and start sharing what they do, or to learn. We have a lot of people that come in and say, oh, I can't paint. And I say, yes, you can. All you have to do is try, but you have to want to. And then we've got Nana doing the beginning drawing, and that class was so well received. And the beginning watercolor class is, I think I opened it up and added a couple spaces, which I announced today. So I'm hoping that they fill quickly.
So can you sort of explain kind of the different levels? Like, say I want to participate in this place. I don't know. I want you to hang my art on my walls or whatever. Do I pay a monthly fee to do that? Is it annual? What are the obligations of the person who's participating?
You pay a monthly fee. As I said, there are 3 tiers, and with different responsibilities. The top tier, which is the studio artist, they get a lot of exposure on the Facebook. They sell on the web page. They get the first opportunity to do whatever. It is definitely a tiered system. Then we have what we call the center artists, who basically rent wall space. they get to be promoted too, but they're not quite as high up as a studio artist. I hate to say that because I
No,
like to
I
treat
know.
everybody equally, but they're just different tiers.
Mhm.
You know, we hope that at some point everybody wants to become a central artist, but that also brings responsibility, like being able to change out your artwork every month. So it's more of an obligation.
So, for someone who understands the gallery scene, usually the gallery scene works that you have a gallery host who presents your work and tries to sell your work for you, and then they take commission. Do you work off of a commission, or is that covered through the membership?
Again, it's tiers of commission. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that's interesting things for people to explore. Just trying to help people understand
Thank you.
how
Thank
to
you.
work through it.
Mhm.
And
And
then
Janice is going to have I think she's going to have events too, like an animal show. So then, isn't that right, Janice?
Right. It's kind of been postponed. That was a glitch, but we are having a art related animal function so we can raise money to donate to different animal groups that don't euthanize animal rescues, because animals are my second passion. Art's my first, animals are second.
Okay.
And then we do different things. We're going to have kids classes here. I'm also working with the adjacent community to have kid classes there. So there are a lot of things we're doing for outreach also.
so if
Mhm.
someone was to come and take a class, say a watercolor class or whatever, do you provide all the tools? Do they get a list of things they have to purchase to come in and do it? How does that work?
It's absolutely different with every class and every teacher. So there's no one answer. Nana Gail is going to provide all of the supplies for the beginning watercolor. Rhonda provided most of the supplies with a small supply fee for the collage class. We've got, I'm trying to think of who's next. But you come in and when you register, like Stephen Walker's coming in, he has a supply list. Catherine Hillis, they have a supply list. So most of the, I don't know how to say this, the more established teachers that travel, they have supply lists that you provide.
Okay.
But most of us who've been doing this, but most of us have our own supplies, I will tell you.
Mhm.
Art seems to be a passion where there are no art supplies you don't like. At least that's from me. I will tell you that. I love art supplies. But most of us have more than our fair share.
I can see you and raise you a lot more.
I'm sure you can.
So, okay, a few more questions about specifics about how you people can participate in your space. I was
Mhm.
wondering, how do you select artists for this center? And then from that, how do you select artworks for exhibits?
What I'm working towards is I've asked several of the studio artists and the center artists to form a committee. And when art comes in, I ask for photographs, or they can bring it in and look at it, and I ask them to look at it, and I ask for recommendations. So it's moving towards to being by committee.
Mhm. And then the exhibits that you feature, how does that work?
At this point, I have selected the artists that are the guest artists. And they are artists that I can't say that I know, but they've been recommended to me by people that I respect.
Mhm.
I like the artist we have now, John Littell. He became highly recommended. So I went down to meet him and talk to him. I always try to meet and talk and see in person, because I do believe, number one, in the personal touch, but number two, I believe I need to see what's going on.
Right. And when I came and visited the space, you also have a whole room of sort of like, I don't know, I guess you could call it your gift shop or your, I don't know, a retail space for artists to
Yes.
sell their works in.
Yes.
And which I think is a really great opportunity. So if you have a membership there, then you can also sell your works there, whatever that.
Yes, that
be,
comes
and,
under.
and that's a good variety of assortment of types of art, from
Yes.
jewelry to paintings to sculpture to whatever.
We have
So-
over 30 artists.
Yeah, so that's really nice. So is that a separate type of membership, or would that come along with one of these other?
That comes along with the other.
Okay, right.
Hey, Janice, I was just brainstorming. What about Westmoreland? Because Menokin, I'm not saying it right, is in Westmoreland County. Am I correct?
Menokin? No, it's in Richmond County.
In Richmond.
Oh,
We're just-
Menokin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where,
it's
do you know where
Richmond.
the Montross Middle School is?
Yes.
So that's at the
Okay,
top
so
of,
that-
that's at the
okay.
top of Menokin Road, and we're
Oh,
just
okay.
a little
okay,
bit
I
further
got
down
it
the
now.
road, but you've crossed the
Okay.
boundary of Richmond and
right.
Westmoreland.
I was thinking of having, it would be a good idea to have like a paint out, where you have, because we're coming up to the warmer weather, you can have, people doing plein air in different places. You give them the canvas, you mark it so that you know that it's done on site. And it kind of advertises around the area. People love that when you're painting in the area. And then you have a wet paint sale back at the art center.
Yeah, that's great.
It's something that I've thought about. It's not
Uh-huh.
quite to the middle of the plate yet, but we are
Yeah.
going to start an urban sketching group, which will be sitting
Oh,
around town sketching.
well, that's good too. But
Yeah.
I mean, then you would have, if you had the sale too, it would also benefit the
Right.
arts with the percentage of commission.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
No, we're not. You and I are going to be talking about that at a later date.
Yeah, and you're gonna paint those dogs.
So
Yes,
I also wanted to sort of make a segue into the artist that's doing some presentations for you coming up this weekend. And I think that there's a sort of a need or a desire of understanding for the missing link from how you get to the how to do this work, taking a class, learning how to do something, to a real job aspect. And I feel like this is something that your center is trying to help connect the dots with through education and programming and introducing that. And so, which is exactly with, your upcoming program with JT Grant is talking about. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to elaborate on that.
Okay, we are very, very fortunate to have an artist of JT Grant's caliber come to the center. I'll tell you a short story first. He tossed out a painting. I mean, just did a quick painting a couple of weeks ago, put it on the Dallas Art Exchange, $30,000. That was it. And I think a lot of us are looking for that. But it's like when people come in and they join the center and they want to price their paintings at a very high price, I try to tell them they need to get a following. People, because they really can't value their paintings until they start selling them. So
Sure.
be here. People buy your art more than they buy your story more than they buy your art. You need to be available to talk to people. People want to relate to you. And I guess that's what I try to tell all of the artists. When we have events, be here, invite people to come over and talk about, why did you paint this painting? What do you like about the painting? Every painting should tell a story, but you need to tell your story that fits into that. There's that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that I think it's wonderful that you're offering that sort of venue to share that as well.
But JT he's going Friday night. That's tomorrow night. I can't believe it's here because we've been planning for it for months.
2 more nights. Tonight's
Two
only
more
Wednesday
nights,
night.
yeah, 2 more nights. Yeah, I got to get myself together. Yeah, it's been a long day. He's doing a Q&A roundtable, and it'll be any questions, but he really wants to focus on how to start your business and how to be successful. And it's really important because you can paint. I mean, the walls of my house are covered in paintings and nobody's buying them because I'm not out selling them. I mean, I have sold, but you have to put it out there. You have to put yourself out there. They don't sell themselves.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm trying to say. And so he's going to help us get better at it.
Well, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
It's also, if you're an artist wanting to, and you're self-teaching yourself, I think it's very, very important that you don't stay too insular too long. You can paint and say you're teaching yourself, but you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't get out among other painters and other teachers. And because everybody thinks differently and has a different way of conveying information to you. And a lot of times you have to pay a lot of money to go to a place, to take a workshop, to learn something. And this weekend is 3 days of free information.
Great.
If you want to be an artist, even if you don't want to sell, you would get a lot of information, I believe, from what JT is going to talk about. I know I'm excited about it. I can't wait to find out what I'm going to learn. He's going to critique art, which is kind of nerve-wracking. I'm a little intimidated. But I want to hear what he has to say. Hopefully some of it's good. And that will help me grow. I've been to classes before where the teacher has critiqued and everybody kind of rolls their eyes, but when they say they're going to do that. But then once you go through that experience of everybody creating something and have it critiqued and see how someone that teaches art and looks at art every day, what they're looking for and what they see in what you've created, it helps the process and helps you along in your journey and helps you grow. So there's a really big opportunity with what's going on at the Art Center this weekend to be part of that.
Sure. And again, I think I keep hearing this word over and over again with the community. So you're actually really opening the community of artists together within a special community of this region as well. I think we have
Right.
little, again, like I was talking about, maker spaces popping up all over the places. We have these other artist communities as well that are here and there, and it's really important to be able to find those people, because if you are in, as you mentioned, in this sort of insular world or whatever, sometimes it's hard to know where to go. And Janice, you've created this great place where you've opened the doors for people to come and find those people together and share, and through things like this, doing open critiques or just sharing in an open house of some sort or whatever. I think all those are really important connecting points, which is how you grow that community and how you learn and grow your craft.
I agree. And I'm also trying to work with other art businesses, other galleries, other guilds, because the more we work together, the better it is. And the bigger the community becomes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all about partnerships. That's
Yes,
my middle
me
name.
too. Look at us.
Oh, that's great. Is there anything else you want to feature about some of your upcoming programs or anything?
Well, we have a really busy month coming up. I just did the blog. As I said, our children's classes will start the 1st of June. As I said, our tagline is Arts for All. We have a lady coming in doing a quilt trunk show. It's a precursor to some quilting classes that she's going to do. And she's an award-winning quilter, so we're very excited about her. We have now formed a partnership with the Hague Winery. We're going to be doing paint and sip parties down there. We're going to be partnering with a couple of restaurants around town too to hang art, and possibly the library. I'm quite excited about that. And we're having an August event. Our guest artist is from an adjacent art league. So I'm just trying to do as much outreach and make as many opportunities as I can for people. And if people come in and tell me they want something, I will jump through hoops to make it happen. I'm not going to make a class for one person, but if I get 5 requests for an advanced watercolor class, I'll get an advanced watercolor teacher.
That's wonderful. I think in the 1 year you've been out here, you've done a tremendous job. And I think with us coming out of the pandemic and everything like that, people are really, really looking for and seeking this kind of nourishment, really, and it's great to see this growing here so nearby in Montross. So that's really wonderful. I'm wondering if we have, Whitney, if we have any other questions out there from our audience.
Not at present, ladies, but this is all really fascinating. I actually have a question, if I may. I'm not much of a visual artist, but I'm a writer. Do you have programs or any kind of partnerships in development for writers?
That's very interesting because the answer at this point is no, but it's something that I've really thought about. A couple of people have approached me about starting a poetry group. And that may not be what you're talking about, but it may be something that would interest you, or maybe it's something you want to come to me and talk about, and we organize an activity.
I hear a
love
hint.
people who help me.
I hear a hint. I know a hint when I get that. Thank you.
Absolutely, because, just because nobody has come through the door yet and said, I need a fiction writer group, doesn't mean there are not 15 people out there that really want to write fiction or nonfiction or just whatever. So you put the feelers out and see what happens. Come on down and see me.
And be inspired in a beautiful space like you all have out there, which is really great place to work in.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. So do you have, I don't know, I'm trying to think if there's any other questions I have. If there is any advice you have to artists wanting to learn more, or how to find you or anything like that, I don't know how we can help get the word out for you.
Well, I'm so appreciative of what you're doing. I just kind of want to add a little bit to what Rhonda was saying a while ago, because she says she's self-taught. She is, but we've been taking classes for a long time together, and she took classes, a lot more classes than I do. But we're taking an online class with collage now, which I'm very excited about. It's a different technique. I'm taking a class next week or next month in, let's see, where am I going to that class? In another advanced watercolor class. I mean, these are things we do to get better so we can be better to help the community.
Sure.
So, and then Nana comes down. I mean, Nana's the pro here. And I can't tell you how excited I am that, she has joined us, and she's a good motivator for me, because she's got a lot of really good ideas. And yeah, we're going to do a plein air, and maybe with the wet canvas and the urban sketching. And we actually even painted rocks. We had adults and kids come in to paint rocks. Okay. We're going to start open studio.
I have a project for you connected to the rocks.
Okay. All right. I have rocks. Believe me, we've got rocks.
Great.
Do you have a basket making at your
That's
place?
something I've been looking for, to be honest. Don't have one yet, but it's definitely, I'm looking around.
I mean, it seems like that to be a fun thing, especially because it's easy. You could just, it's an easy thing to do.
And at our Makers Day, which we do in June, we've had a variety of basketry. But one of the women came and did a workshop at Menokin. It wasn't connected to that prior to Makers Day. And it's called pine needle baskets. And it's literally,
I love those.
You collect the long pine needles, and you're literally wrapping one pine needle into another. You start with a coil and you build up off of it. It's really, really beautiful, and they're really cool. But with that, and then also locally, there's a Potomac Indian who makes a traditional form of basket called eel baskets. Will be demonstrating at Makers Day also. So
that's my nation, Alice.
Yeah. Great. All right. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yep, that's my nation.
All right.
Well, I'll definitely be down at your Makers Mart, because I hope to have a table down there, but I'll also be checking out your exhibit, your vendors, because I'm constantly looking. Everybody doesn't want to be a painter or a potter or a stained glass artist. So we want to provide for them too. And I love this pine needle basket. I have a yard full of them. So I've got the materials.
When is the Makers March?
That's June 24th on a Saturday. It's from 11 to 3. And it's free and open to the public.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to try and see if I can get there.
Oh, great. We'd love to have you.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
All right. We are still accepting makers. So because we have plenty of time to sign up people. So if you want to come and demo, we do that. And
I wanted to do that fairy house. That sounds really fun.
You still got time to sign up. You still got time.
The statue will support you.
Yeah,
we'll do it for you. We'll register.
All you have to do is get it installed by the end of May.
Okay. I've got my
And
fingers
that's a
crossed.
new thing too, but we're really excited about that and bringing people out to do that. And because our trails get used a lot by local people and just recreation enthusiasts who come to kayak or want to go do a hike or whatever. And so now we're opening that up with something really cool to come explore. Also, it's great for families to come and look and see if they can find the places. So I think that's going to be a really fun new venture for us as well.
I think it's very fun. I remember my,
Maybe-
my daughter, when she was little, we
Maybe-
made fairy
Oh.
furniture, fairy
Yeah,
houses.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now she has her own website making dollhouse furniture, wee little studios. She does fantastic stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful. I've
I should tell her, she would be,
Yeah.
she'd want to do it.
Yeah. So, so that's another opportunity that we try and open, and maybe that's something we can partner with the Art Center of Montross in the future. So, think put that in your.
Gosh, it's so wonderful. It's just really wonderful.
Oh, my fingers are crossed that I have somebody that's going to make one. I'm still kind of doing a little arm twisting, but I think I'm almost there.
Okay, well, great. That's wonderful.
We have to Saturday, right?
Yep. You don't have to be done by Saturday. You just got to.
No, but to apply.
Yeah, right. So it's not hard to sign up.
Yeah, he just said yes. So
Oh.
you got an application coming.
Great. We're nearing our 8 o'clock hour, and I do like to try and respect everybody's time for this. Is there anything else you'd like to add or note before we finish up this evening?
I just want to thank you for this opportunity. I mean, it's really exciting to be able to tell people what we do. I want to thank Nana for helping and Rhonda. I mean, they're two great assets to the gallery, and I want to invite everybody to come in and see the Art Center.
Well, I hope we send more people
Yeah.
there. And I'm going to just pull up my screen again for anybody who needs to
Yeah.
remember.
And I've got everybody, I just put links in the note in the chat box. So everybody help yourselves to all the links that you see.
So we are here at Menokin, and we are available for questions. You can always email us or call us directly if you have any further comments or questions. And this recording, this webinar was recorded, and it will be available by Monday of next week. And we'll share that link to everybody who registered, as well as all of our participants.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
well,
you, Alice. Thank you, Whitney.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Janice, for all the work you've done, and hope to see you soon.
Yes.
Okay, you will.
All right. You all have a great night.
You too. Good
Thank
night.
you. You
Bye-bye.
too.